Sandra Bullock, the name that radiates charm, the smile that carried some of Hollywood's most beloved stories, the presence that made audiences feel warmth and strength at the same time. But what if behind that laughter, that grace, and that enduring success lies a life shaped by heartbreak, resilience, and moments so deeply personal they rarely reached the public eye? What if the journey that made her one of the most admired actresses in the world also demanded emotional strength in ways that few could imagine? Because this is not just a story of fame, this is a story of survival, of rebuilding, of carrying pain quietly while continuing to show up for the world. Born in Arlington, Virginia, into a family deeply connected to the arts, her mother an opera singer and her father a voice coach, she grew up moving between cultures, spending time in Europe and the United States, experiencing both artistic richness and the challenges of constant change. And from a young age, she developed a sense of independence, a self-reliance that would later define her character, but also a subtle longing for stability, for something consistent in a life that was always shifting. And as she pursued acting, she faced the same uncertainties that define the industry: rejection, inconsistency, and the need to prove herself repeatedly before finally breaking through with roles that showcased her unique ability to blend humor, vulnerability, and strength. Films like Speed and While You Were Sleeping established her as a leading actress, someone who could carry both action and romance with equal ease and authenticity. Yet even as her career flourished, her personal life carried complexities that were not always visible. Relationships that faced challenges, the constant pressure of maintaining privacy in an environment that thrives on exposure. And then came one of the most public and painful moments of her life. Her marriage ended under circumstances that drew intense media attention, a period that coincided with what should have been one of her happiest professional achievements: her Academy Award win for The Blind Side. A moment that for many would represent the pinnacle of success was instead intertwined with personal heartbreak, forcing her to navigate both celebration and loss simultaneously. And that experience revealed a level of resilience that would define the next chapter of her life. Because rather than retreat, she chose to rebuild. She chose to redefine what family meant to her, adopting her children and creating a life centered on love, stability, and purpose beyond the spotlight. And yet, even in that new chapter, life continued to present challenges, moments that tested her strength, including the profound loss of her longtime partner, Brian Randall, a loss that brought deep grief, and once again reminded her of the fragility of connection and the unpredictability of life. And at 61, the reflection on her journey carries a weight that is both inspiring and heartbreaking, because it is not defined by a single tragedy, but by the accumulation of experiences, the early instability, the pressures of fame, the public heartbreak, the quiet rebuilding, the personal loss, and the constant effort to remain grounded and present through it all. And perhaps the most emotional aspect of her story is the contrast between the image the world sees and the reality she has lived. The laughter on screen, the strength in her roles, the warmth in her presence, all existing alongside moments of pain that required immense courage to navigate privately. And yet, through every challenge, she has continued to embody resilience, to find meaning in connection, to prioritize what truly matters beyond success and recognition. And that is what makes her story so powerful, because it reflects a truth that resonates universally. The understanding that life is not defined solely by its achievements, but by how one responds to its challenges, how one rebuilds after loss, how one continues to love. Despite pain, and as she moves forward, there is a quiet strength in her journey, a recognition that while the past cannot be changed, it can inform a deeper appreciation for the present, a deeper connection to the people and experiences that bring genuine fulfillment. And in that understanding, there is both beauty and heartbreak. The acknowledgement that even the most admired lives carry unseen struggles, that even the brightest smiles can exist alongside profound sorrow, and that true strength is found not in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with grace, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to keep moving forward. The quiet continuation of her journey is not marked by dramatic announcements or public declarations, but by subtle shifts in perspective, the kind that only come after years of navigating both joy and loss. Because when someone has experienced deep emotional highs and equally profound lows, there comes a stage where life is no longer approached with urgency, but with intention, where every decision carries a deeper awareness of its meaning, and every moment is filtered through the understanding that nothing is guaranteed. And in that space there is a different kind of strength, one that is not loud or performative, but steady and grounded, rooted in the ability to remain present, even when memories of the past surface with unexpected intensity. Because grief does not simply disappear, it evolves, it changes form, it becomes quieter, yet more integrated into daily life, shaping how one sees the world, how one values time, how one connects with others. And for her, that evolution has meant learning to carry loss without allowing it to overshadow the love that still exists, the love she has built through her family, the relationships she continues to nurture, and the sense of purpose that extends beyond her career. And as time moves forward, there is a noticeable shift from external validation to internal fulfillment, from the need to constantly achieve to the desire to simply experience life in its most authentic form. And that transition is not always easy, especially for someone who has spent decades in an industry that thrives on visibility and recognition, because stepping away from that constant attention requires a level of confidence in one's identity that is built not on applause, but on self-understanding. And that process of redefining identity beyond public perception is one of the most complex aspects of her journey. It involves letting go of the expectations that others have placed on her, the roles she is known for, the image she has carried, and allowing herself to exist beyond those definitions as a person first, rather than a figure of admiration. And in doing so, she creates space for a more balanced life, one where success is not measured solely by professional milestones, but by personal peace, by the ability to find joy in ordinary moments, by the strength to be present for the people who matter most. And yet, even within this more grounded perspective, there remains an awareness of the past, the experiences that shaped her, the challenges that tested her, and the losses that changed her in ways that cannot be undone. And that awareness brings with it both wisdom and vulnerability, because it means acknowledging that strength is not about being unaffected by hardship, but about continuing to move forward while carrying it. And that is where the deeper emotional resonance of her story lies, not in the events themselves, but in the way she has responded to them, the way she has chosen to rebuild, to redefine her priorities, to create a life that reflects her values rather than the expectations of the world. And in that process, There is a quiet transformation, one that is not defined by dramatic change, but by consistent intentional choices, the choice to focus on family, the choice to protect her privacy, the choice to engage with work on her own terms, and the choice to embrace a version of success that is rooted in balance rather than constant motion. And as she continues to navigate this stage of her life, there is a sense that her story is evolving into something even more meaningful, something that extends beyond the roles she has played and into the way she lives her life, with intention, with resilience, and with a deep understanding of what truly matters. And that understanding is what gives her journey its lasting impact, because it reflects a universal truth that resonates far beyond the boundaries of fame. The idea that life is not defined by the absence of hardship, but by the ability to find meaning within it, to create connection despite loss, to choose love even after experiencing pain, and to continue moving forward with grace even when the path is uncertain. And in that truth, there is both inspiration and quiet heartbreak. The recognition that even the most admired lives are shaped by experiences that are deeply human, that beneath the surface of success, there are stories of endurance, of growth, and of a constant search for balance. And in that ongoing search lies the essence of her journey, a journey that continues to unfold with depth, with authenticity, and with a strength that does not seek attention, but remains undeniable in its quiet persistence.